Hello, this is Eddie from AppSheet here to help you build a custom ticketing application directly from your own data sources like Google Sheets or Excel, all without a single line of code. So to get started, we could either use our own data source or we could start from a sample app and copy an existing spreadsheet. So in this case, let's go over to sample apps. We'll search ticketing, and we are going to use this IT ticketing app as our example. So we're going to go ahead and copy it. And just like that, we have our very own custom IT ticketing app. So let's take a quick peek. In our app, we have a view for creating new tickets. So you can enter in your name, last name, employee ID, email, symptom of what's going on with your computer, a photo. But since I'm logged in as Eddie at AppSheet.com, it doesn't recognize me in the system right now. If we jump over to the menu, we can see that there is a place for all tickets where we see a list of some of these made-up tickets that are entered in already. And we can see the different possible symptoms that we've recorded with your computer. And we also have managed text where you can see Shelly, Justin, Miles, and Jean ready to go. So to get under the hood and understand how this app works, let's head over to the Data tab. So from data, we can see that this app is comprised of 3 data tables. And if we click View Source, we can see that all 3 of them are simply actually just Google Sheets. And so we have our ticket worksheet, a technician worksheet, and a symptoms worksheet. And what our application is actually doing is it's pulling from all 3 tabs and using various references to connect them in order to build the application for a mobile-friendly user interface. One thing to take note of is that your first row is really important. These are your column headers, and so make sure that when you're using your Google Sheet or Excel or SQL database, that you are properly identifying them as such. So we could easily, if we wanted to, add more fields, such as phone number or other helpful information if we wanted to, and it would simply add those as well into the app itself. One thing to note as well is that the data is two-way syncing, so any changes you make in the app are reflected in the spreadsheet and vice versa. So if we jump from tables over to columns, we can see that we actually have access through AppSheet to edit what each column represents. It could be a name, text, get of drawings, enumerated lists, latitude, longitude, all kinds of different categories of data to help you better structure your app. So you can see on the right that we also have formulas, which are very similar to Google Sheet or Excel formulas, and these allow you to manipulate the different columns in different ways. So for instance, here we have a AppSheet expression that allows you to choose a value from a list of technicians by name through the department. And so there is a whole number of resources at help.appsheet.com and other places to help you understand how to build these expressions. But for basic apps, you won't even need these kinds of expressions. And if you're copying the IT ticketing app as is, you can use the expressions as is already created for you. Beyond columns, we also have slices. And what a slice is it's a subset of your data table. So for instance, if I am just in sample, I'm really only concerned about a number of these tickets, right? This one, that one. So what a slice does is that it creates a subset of the whole data table. So rather than looking at all of these tickets, I could simply look at the ones that are related to just in sample. So in this case, this expression basically models that same thing where the email is equal to the username, then in that case, we're going to display that within that slice. So if we jump over to UX, we can see how these different data sources are then created within the app. So if we jump over to UX, we can see how these different data sources are then displayed throughout the AppSheet app. So in these primary views, we see that we have a new ticket, which is a form, allows us to create a form to enter in new tickets. And we can also see that there is another one, My Tickets, on the right. And My Tickets will then show you which tickets are related to you. And if we jump over to My Tickets, we will then see all the tickets that are related to you. In this case, since I'm logged in as Eddie at appsheet.com, there are none. We can also see in the menu, we can see the 3 different views for all tickets, managed symptoms, and managed text. So something interesting to note about this is that we can very easily change how the data is displayed. So right now it's in a table view, but if we wanted a deck view where we might have more information about it and more options, we could switch to that. If this was more of a visual-based app, we might have a gallery view where we could see each of the images associated with it. And depending on your data type, you might also have calendars or charts or maps, all different kinds of things to better create a user interface and experience that would make sense for your custom application. So beyond setting up the data views, we also have options to set up the custom branding, various formatting rules we could apply. For instance, if something is must be completed within the next 24 hours, if we could highlight that, or we can put a red dot next to it. There's all different things we can do to help prioritize and stack rank and make this app more and more efficient for users. So jumping over to the behavior tab, we can see that we also have the opportunity to create actions, workflows, reports, and more. So for instance, if we wanted to have an action that would allow us to jump to help reference material to figure out how to solve these problems, we could easily do so. We could create an action for instructions for any row of tables. And we could say something like, let's go to a new website. And let's just pretend that we are going to link everyone to help.ubusiness.com. And by creating an action, and let's have it display overlay, anytime you are clicked into a ticket, let's jump over to all tickets. We will save this action. You can see that every time we are inside a ticket, we'll have an option to jump out to visit the website, which if it were a real website would be really helpful, but it's not. So jumping over to workflows, we can see that there's already been 3 that are created. Let's take a look at technician notification. Technician notification, you simply follow the prompts. It says whenever a new ticket is added, then go ahead and email the assigned tech to let them know. We can also create reports. So for instance, every week we could have a report be sent to the manager compiling every single ticket that each technician completed that past week. So very similar setups. And lastly, we have security. Security allows us to determine is this a public app or a private app? And since there's important private data happening here, we're going to go ahead and make sure that our users are signed in through Google. There are other authentication providers based on your data type. And there's also things we can do with our intelligence and create Smart Assistant to allow us to better navigate this app. But for the time being, we're going to simplify and ignore that step for now. And let's say once you are completed and once you have added all the things that you would like to your app, you can head over to Not Deployed. You could move your app to a deployed state. This will check if there's any errors in your app. And it looks like we are good to go. And once we've deployed the app, you will automatically receive an email with a link to the AppSheet app, which you can then install on your mobile phone. You can also obviously share this with any of your coworkers or peers. And there you have it. That is how you build an IT ticketing app with AppSheet. So again, to get started, the easiest way would be to head right over to appsheet.com or click on the link in this YouTube video and head over to Sample Apps and search ticketing. And you will find this very same sample app, which you can modify to build your app just the way you like it. If you have any questions, feel free to let us know in the comments or at community.appsheet.com. And we'd love to hear from you about how you are building and solving challenges in your business. Thank you so much.